Hello and welcome to Ranked Up. My name is Noah, and here's a list of 10 of the best story-driven games you must play at least once. With the sea of competitive games right now, it's always good to see and play some story games that value your time. So we've created this list to give you some of the best games with stories that are totally unforgettable. And we're starting off this list with A Plague Tale: Requiem. So this is a third-person action-adventure game that continues the heartbreaking story of siblings Hugo and Amicia set in medieval France during the Black Plague. This time, they've fled to the south, hoping to escape the armies of the Inquisition and the thousands of rats swarming the countrysides. But complications with Hugo's mysterious supernatural powers derail that escape, and Amicia finds herself on the run from soldiers again as the twisting fate of her family threatens everything. This game has everything you remember from its predecessor Innocence. It's a stealth game that's mostly about either sneaking past soldiers to avoid getting killed or using your wits to bypass encounters by setting ambushes or using tools like sling to distract or incapacitate your enemies. Requiem gives you a lot more ways to sneak around than its predecessor, and you usually have more choices about how to approach situations. The game also revels in its gothic, plague-infested version of 14th century France and keeps the twists coming in its story right up and until its conclusion. No spoilers, but it's a big ending and easily one of the best story games you can play right now. Next on the list is What Remains of Edith Finch, a game whose title sounds like a gritty detective novel, but in reality it's a game that revolves around exploring the Finch family home and uncovering their family history. It's slow, thoughtful, and very somber in how it explores the tempestuous and convoluted lives and, more importantly, the deaths of the Finch family. It's also a walking simulator because you spend most of your time on foot, looking and searching for things. The story of the game that made the entire thing work is a story that seems quite simple but profoundly complex. Basically, you're Edith Finch, a young woman who explores her abandoned family home and begins to unveil family secrets. As you go around the house and explore things left behind, there are logs about the day they died, and the cool thing about the game is that it presents things in such a surreal manner that makes you really question and forces you to dig deep into the characters. What Remains of Edith Finch is not only a dreamlike narrative adventure about exploring a family's home, but it's also a game about wandering the dreamlike memories and reliving the final moments in the lives of the Finch family's many strange and peculiar members. Next up, if you haven't played Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals, then we highly recommend you do. It's this indie adventure full of intrigue, mystery, and choice. Think Stranger Things, but if you swapped out all the 80s charm for a modern-day coastal town melancholy vibes. The game casts you as Riley, a researcher extracting mineral samples from caves beneath Camina before an upcoming demolition project. Your primary tool throughout your adventure in Camina will be a walkie-talkie, which allows you to communicate with fellow team members, locals, and even some ethereal entities you encounter. This device often offers multiple options for how you'd like to respond, continuing the series' tradition of presenting continual dialogue choices. And your words shape the world even if some of those decisions don't come home to roost until the very end. It's a flexibility that makes conversation appear natural and seamless, even iconic, and also a defining feature of the vibe-driven narrative of the franchise. If you're a fan of the subtle paranormal horror of the first game, then you still get more of that here, except the sublime scares are punctuated with brighter moments. It's one of those best story games on this list that, again, we highly recommend. Up next, the original PlayStation 2 version of Shadow of the Colossus was an innovative masterpiece, and this remake preserves its powers while delivering the technological leaps that players always imagined when they dream of a revamp. The game is set in a vast and haunted fantasy world. An unnamed young man wants to revive a dead girl. To do so, he makes a pact with a demon, and in order to fulfill it, he needs to take down 16 giant colossi. That's all the story you get in Shadow of the Colossus, and that's all you'll need. The more colossi you kill, the greater the burden will be on your conscience. It's a tragedy set to an impossibly beautiful landscape. It's a quest of a lifetime that won't take you anything more than 10 hours to complete. It's got puzzles, huge boss fights that you need to climb, and more. And everything here is incredibly designed, with the game's solitary meditative moments intact, such as charging endlessly on horseback or climbing a really tall tower wrapped in silence. If you're looking for a classic that's been remade to perfection, Shadow of the Colossus is a must-play story game. Now, if you're a story game enthusiast and haven't played NieR Automata, then please go out and play it. It's so fascinating that we wouldn't feel right spoiling a moment of it for you. You have to go into this game blind as possible, and that's the only right way to experience its head-spinning narrative and gameplay twists that use the interactivity of the medium in ways that, no exaggeration, you've most likely never experienced before. NieR Automata is a classic action RPG title developed by Platinum Games and published by Square Enix in 2017. The game can be enjoyed without any prior knowledge of the original NieR or the Drakengard series it's spun off from. The story takes you into a desolate Earth where alien machines have driven humanity to the moon. Players control androids in a proxy war against these machines, exploring vast terrains in a story-rich experience filled with plot twists and philosophical dilemmas about existence, consciousness, and the nature of humanity. The game seamlessly blends hack-and-slash combat, RPG elements, and even bullet hell sequences, making it a really dynamic gameplay experience overall. The best thing about the game, though, is its unorthodox storytelling method that reveals new layers upon multiple playthroughs. NieR Automata challenges player perceptions and delivers a really incredible emotional depth through its tight gameplay, awesome soundtrack, and stunning visuals. Coming in next, we've got Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and man, this one really caught me off guard. On the surface, it's this gorgeous, party-based RPG that honestly shares some DNA with the later Final Fantasy games, but it's definitely doing its own, much darker thing. You're essentially exploring a world where a literal paintress wakes up every year to scrub people out of existence based on their age. It's super grim, but somehow mesmerizingly beautiful at the same time. The vibe is like a steampunk Paris, mixed with these haunting, underwater-looking landscapes that just look out of this world. You play as Gustav, and you're leading this expedition of people who basically have nothing left to lose to try and stop the cycle. The combat is where it gets really addictive, though, because it's turn-based but feels way more active since you have to time your dodges and parries in real time without any hand-holding. It's got this deep system with magical tarot cards and elemental stances that makes every fight feel like a puzzle you actually want to solve. Plus, the voice acting is top tier. You've even got Charlie Cox and Andy Serkis in there bringing these characters to life. It's easily one of the most emotional and unique stories I've played since stuff like Red Dead Redemption 2. If you're looking for something that feels high budget but totally fresh, you've seriously got to check this one out. Next up, we have a game that needs no introduction, but seeing it still dominate in 2025 is just wild. Red Dead Redemption 2. Honestly, even years after its release, there's still nothing that quite captures this level of detail. It's basically the gold standard for open-world immersion. You're stepping into the boots of Arthur Morgan, an outlaw in a world that's quickly outgrowing people like him, and the story is just, man, it's heart-wrenching. It's got that same emotional weight we talked about with Clair Obscur, where the characters feel so human and their struggle feels so real. You're spending your time hunting, engaging in these cinematic shootouts, or just riding your horse through landscapes that still look better than most games coming out today. It's definitely a slow burn kind of experience, but once you get into the rhythm of the camp life and the Dutch Van der Linde gang, it totally sucks you in. There's so much to do, from poker games to random encounters in the wilderness that actually feel organic, not just like checkboxes on a map. If you somehow haven't lived through Arthur's journey yet, or if you're a new gamer looking for that one masterpiece to start with, this is the one. It's a massive, beautiful, and ultimately tragic epic that everyone should play at least once. Number 3 on our list is Detroit Become Human, and honestly, with how fast AI is moving in the real world right now, this game feels more like a documentary than sci-fi. It's a massive interactive drama where you're jumping between 3 different androids. What's cool is that it's not your typical shoot-'em-up game. It's all about these heavy split-second choices and quick-time events that actually branch the story in crazy ways. You can see your progress on this huge flowchart, and it's wild how one tiny dialogue slip can literally get a main character killed off for good. It's got that high-budget cinematic feel, much like Red Dead Redemption 2, but it focuses way more on how you're shaping the world's future through your morals. Some of the controls can feel a bit odd or old school, but the acting is so good you'll forget you're even playing a game. It's the perfect pick if you're new to gaming because it's more about the experience and the what if than having lightning-fast reflexes. Seriously, if you want a game that'll make you question what it even means to be alive, you've got to give this a shot. Next up, we have the first episode of Telltale's The Walking Dead. And look, I know what you're thinking. This game is a classic, so why are we still recommending this? Honestly, it's because it basically perfected the choice-driven genre. And even after all these years, the emotional gut punch of Lee and Clementine's story still hits harder than most modern AAA titles. You're playing as Lee Everett, a guy who starts the game in the back of a police car just as the world goes to absolute hell, and you quickly become the protector of this sweet, resourceful girl named Clementine. It's not really about the action or bashing zombie heads, it's about the impossible, stressful decisions you have to make under pressure, like deciding who in your group gets to eat or who lives and dies in a split second. The gameplay is super accessible, mostly point-and-click and quick-time events, which makes it a fantastic starting point if you're a new gamer who wants a story that feels like a cinematic movie. Plus, right now you can usually snag the definitive edition for a total steal, giving you that updated look while keeping all that original, heart-wrenching soul. It's a total must-play because it doesn't just ask you to survive the apocalypse, it asks you to keep your humanity while doing it. And finally, we've got Spec Ops: The Line, and honestly, it's a tragedy that this game is getting harder and harder to find. On the surface, it looks like just another generic military shooter from the 360 era, but the story is actually a masterclass in psychological subversion. It basically takes the whole heroic soldier trope and completely deconstructs it, forcing you to confront the actual messy reality of your actions in a way that's genuinely haunting. Most games want you to feel like a badass, but this one wants you to think about why you're pulling the trigger, and the writing is just phenomenal for it. It's super unfortunate though, because as of lately it's been delisted from pretty much every digital storefront due to some licensing issues. I think it's such a blow for game preservation because this is easily one of the most important narratives in the genre. If you can manage to track down a physical copy, or if you already have it in your library, you absolutely have to play it. It's not just a game, it's a total rug pull that will change the way you look at shooters forever. Seriously, it's a must-play piece of interactive art that deserves to be experienced at least once. Anyway, those are the best story-driven games you must play at least once. There are definitely more out there, so if you've got your own recommendations, drop them in the comments and let's chat about it. That's going to wrap it up for now, but seriously, if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel.